Before Africa was divided by foreign hands, it was a continent of kingdoms, trade routes, empires, and rich civilizations. But in the late 19th century, a storm was brewing in Europe, one that would forever change Africa's fate. This is the untold story of how an entire continent was stolen without a single battle on its soil. This is the Scramble for Africa. The Berlin Conference. Africa was not invited. In 1884, in a cold room in Berlin, Europe's most powerful men gathered to decide the fate of a continent that none of them truly understood. This is the story of betrayal, greed, and the carving of Africa, without a single African in the room. By the late 1800s, Europe was hungry for rubber, gold, ivory, and power. Industrial revolutions demanded resources. Empires craved expansion. Africa, vast and rich, became the prize. In November 1884, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck invited 14 European nations and the United States to Berlin. Their goal, avoid war over Africa by dividing it like slices of a cake. No African leaders were invited. No kings, no chiefs, no elders. The continent's future was redrawn without a single African voice. Borders ignored cultures, languages, and history. Britain claimed East and Southern Africa. France took the West. Belgium, under King Leopold II, seized the Congo, not for Belgium, but for himself. The continent was carved like meat on a platter. Leopold called it the Congo Free State. But it was anything but free. His soldiers cut off hands of workers who didn't meet rubber quotas. 10 million died in one of history's forgotten genocides. African kingdoms sent envoys, wrote letters, pleaded for peace. They were ignored. Their words never made it past European ears. Their lands, cultures, and sovereignties reduced to zones of profit. By 1900, over 90% of Africa was under European rule. Entire civilizations disrupted, languages outlawed, cultures demonized. But seeds of resistance were already beginning to grow. Africa was not at the table, but it was on the menu. The Berlin Conference set in motion a century of pain, resistance, and survival. But this is not where the story ends. To understand Africa today, we must first confront the lies told about its past. How Africa resisted colonization. They came with guns, lies, and flags. But Africa did not kneel quietly. From mountains to coasts, from forests to deserts, resistance blazed across the continent. This is the story of defiance, of warriors, kings, queens, and common people who stood against an empire. In Ethiopia, Emperor Menelik II saw what was coming. He armed his people, trained his army, and read the treaties they tried to twist. At the Battle of Adwa in 1896, Ethiopian forces crushed the Italian army. It was a victory that shocked Europe and gave Africa hope. In West Africa, Samurai Touré built a powerful empire through trade and strategy. When the French came, he fought them for over 16 years, using guerrilla tactics and diplomacy. In today's Nigeria, Queen Amina of Zazzau had already built walls and commanded armies centuries before colonizers arrived. And when they did, new queens like Ya Asantewa of the Ashanti took up arms. In 1900, she led the Ashanti rebellion against British forces, declaring, "If the men will not fight, I will." In the South, Shaka Zulu had long before revolutionized African warfare. His legacy inspired later Zulu uprisings, as well as resistance in Zimbabwe by the Shona and Ndebele under leaders like Mbuya Nehanda and Lobengula. Resistance wasn't only on battlefields, it was in poems.
Congo is a very rich country. Today, the Congolese people are the poorest in the world, maybe third poorest country in the world because of plundering the economy, no vision, no stability. People are getting richer when they are not in politics. They are very poor. They come in politics, they become the richest guys, going with private jets, and they go to ask for donation all over for the people with their spending is where I support President Donald Trump to review these things to see really if this money is going to the final destination. Is this money helping? We had very bad election.
These are the people who deserve the best life. These are the people who have the government to represent them. These are the people who had every reason to live well, enjoy life, and access to everything in their countries. But look at this. You may be wondering on how and where these people, this large crowd of people are going. Where are they heading to? But these are just the Congolese. These are the people who just have no hope, who just have no any idea, have no any option with life, but are just the people who live to survive, starting up a day and ending up the day without knowing what to do, because this is the country that has lost its focus. This is the country that has been forgotten. This is the country that that is being suffered. The citizens are suffering due to a few group of people who are only selfish, and they are only there to work on their interests, chase their dreams, without knowing how the situation of the people and the people that are representing go on. This country, since Belgium introduced colonization in that country, and they did a lot of massacres in this country. Since then, up to this time, this country has never experienced peace. This time has never experienced the best life, the best leadership. Yet this country has the leaders, has the representatives, and there are some few people who are very rich because they are the one controlling, owning everything in this country without knowing how the people live or survive. And now, if you can, this is not just a river, but a road that was built, that was supposed to be built so that it can serve the citizens of this country. But what the condition of this road is being looked at? This is just a truck which is carrying raw materials. These are the raw materials that are going to build up the best things, or the best things in the world.
Where did the refugees come from? I don't mean did they come from Syria or Afghanistan, that we know. But why did they come? They came because of war. Where did the war come from? From my country, from the CIA, which first started to overthrow the Afghan government back in 1979. The U.S. has been involved in Afghanistan in war, both covert and overt, for nearly 40 years. Iraq, absolutely against international law, of course, often called the most dreadful foreign policy decision in modern times, an absolutely unprovoked war, killed hundreds of thousands, displaced millions, created disaster, blowback, and refugees. Where was Europe's foreign policy? I kept looking. Is there a foreign policy? I even took out my microscope. I couldn't even find a microscopic foreign policy because there's no foreign policy to speak of. So the idea that the only policy is to debate should we accept refugees or not is not right. The real policy is stop.
That's why we always say, come out and address these issues, that we are not ready to associate with some organizations which are here in Africa, believed to be the solutions that can provide the better solutions to the conflicts and problems that affect Africa. But at the same time, this organization, that they are silently watching over everything that's being done here in Africa without any solution, anything to do to save the countries of Africa, which have been under conflicts for a very long time. We need, as Africans, to stop all that is being done in the country of Congo. We have to save these children, because these children are just like the other children who need the basic needs, who need to live well and live up the life of their dreams. They have to grow up, enjoy what they have to enjoy in life, just like the other children. So why do we have to sit down, watch over everything that's being done in these countries, while we say that we are democratic countries? In fact, these are countries that's being known as the Democratic Republic of Congo. So I don't know the meaning of this word democratic, when this country itself is being consumed each and every day with, and yet they have the leaders in these countries. We have the leaders. The citizens always wake up and go to vote for the leaders to the offices, hoping that maybe they can change up the situation that are being seen in these countries. But many years ago, over decades, situations has never been different since the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, because he was the only leader in Congo who seems to change the situation, who seems to change the narrative of Congo. But since he was assassinated and the colonizers, all the Belgian empires, installed their puppets there, then this country of Congo is only a country that is there to experience the massacres, the problems, and the crisis. So where are...
It's interesting, we heard from the Minister of DRC, what's wrong with your country? Well, we don't even start by saying the King of Belgium created a slave colony for 30 years. The government of Belgium ran the slave colony for another 40 years. The CIA assassinated your first popular leader, Mr. Lumumba, and then installed another dictatorship for the next 30 years. And then Glencore and others now suck out your cobalt without giving you tax income. We don't reflect on that. We say, what's wrong with you? Why don't you govern properly?
Organizations that are there calling themselves a democratic organization to help and produce solve the problems that are there to consume or to affect the Africans. Right here, presenter, tell me what to have to the comment section. I will make sure that I respond to each and every question that pops in my comment section, because we have to discuss about this. Thank you for your time and stay tuned. Peace out.